Stop. Right now, before you let your mind move on to the next thing, hear me. Something enormous happened last night over your life, and you did not fully notice it. You have been carrying a quiet pressure that no one around you seems to see. You keep moving, you keep showing up, you keep answering what is required of you. But inside there is a place that has been asking the same question for far too long. Why does it feel like something is near, yet still not visible? Tonight, you are going to understand what happened, why it reached you, and what it has been trying to say through the signs you have been ignoring. Stay with me, because by the end of this, the hidden message will no longer be hidden. By the time we close, you're going to recognize the pattern that has been repeating in your days, the signs that have been circling your life without asking permission, and the reason your heart has felt both restless and strangely awake. You are going to see that what looked like delay was never emptiness, and what looked like silence was never absence. And before this ends, I am going to speak a declaration over you that will name what has already been forming in the deepest place of your life. This message reached you by appointment, not by accident. It came to you at the exact hour when you were ready to hear what you could not have received yesterday, because there are moments that do not arrive through timing alone. They arrive through recognition. You did not find this by mistake. It found you because something in you has already begun to answer. There has been a change moving through you, and it has not asked for your permission. You may have noticed it first in the small places, where the day should have felt ordinary, but did not. You wake in the night at the same hour, again and again, and there is no clear reason for it. Your body opens its eyes before your mind does, as if some inner watchman is standing at the gate while the rest of the world sleeps. You lie there in the dark and feel that strange mixture of alertness and peace, as though you are being called to witness something before anyone else sees it. Then there are the waves that come without warning. One moment you are steady, and the next a sudden ache passes through you, not quite sadness, not quite longing, attention. You need to prepare now. I put together an exclusive resource for those who feel set apart for something greater, but live surrounded by noise, distractions, and mental overload. This is a 30-day journey that will transform your life. A guided path to armor your mind and prepare for what's coming with daily practices of focus, boundaries, and discipline. Stop negotiating with the noise. Learn to spot distractions before they control you, and strengthen your mind. Also available in an immersive audio version. Over 10 Zuru readers have already transformed their lives through the 30-day journey. Thousands of people have already started this transformation. People like you who are tired of living in the fog. Ordinary people who decided to stop accepting mental chaos. Take advantage of this limited time offer only this month. Access your link just below in the pinned comment. But something deeper and harder to name. It rises while you are washing dishes, while you are driving, while you are sitting in a room where nothing dramatic is happening. And still your chest tightens, as if your spirit has brushed against a memory your mind has not caught up to yet. You have also felt it in conversations that no longer fit the shape of your life. Words you once repeated with conviction now feel thin in your mouth. Agreement that once came easily now lands with weight, because something in you has outgrown old explanations. You listen, you nod, you stay polite, but inside you know that certain rooms are no longer built for the size of what is awakening in you. And then there are the repetitions that seem too precise to ignore. A number appears more than once, then again. A phrase returns in a song, in a message, in a passing conversation. You glance at the clock and find the same pattern staring back at you as if it has been waiting there for your attention. None of it shouts, and that is part of why it matters. It arrives like a whisper that keeps returning until your heart finally turns toward it. These are not random disturbances. They are confirmations. They are not here to unsettle you. They are here to reveal that something is moving in your life at a level deeper than your ordinary explanations. The waking, the waves, the hollow conversations, the repeating signs, all of them are the language of a door that has begun to open from the other side. Take a breath with me. Let that settle into the place in you that has been waiting longest to be named. If even one of those signs has been circling your life, if your shoulders dropped when I spoke it, type the number 888. That number carries the meaning of overflow, and you need to know that what has been pressing against you is not here to break you. It is here to expand the room around your life. Type 888, then come back to me. Because there is something beneath these signs, and once you see it, you will never look at the surface the same way again. Beneath those signs is one single pattern, and it is older than the moment you first noticed the restlessness. It is the pattern of living, as if you must remain braced for disappointment, as if hope must always be held with one hand ready to pull back. You know this pattern well, even if you have never named it. It has made you careful. It has taught you to expect less than your heart actually carries. It has trained you to smile before you believe, to prepare for loss before you receive, to speak softly about the very thing you secretly desire most. You do not call it fear because fear sounds too obvious, and what you have been living inside is more refined than that. It is guarded expectation. It is the habit of surviving what has not yet happened. This pattern has shown itself in every season. When something good gets close, you tighten. When an open door appears, you look for the hidden lock. When someone speaks hope over you, part of you listens, and part of you steps back as if the ground might disappear under the next word. You have been so faithful in maintaining composure that even your longing has learned how to sit down quietly. And because you have lived this way for so long, you may have mistaken the pattern for wisdom. You may have thought that caution was maturity, that restraint was strength, that staying small was a way to stay safe. But the truth is simpler and gentler than that. You were adapting. You were learning how to function in places where your whole heart did not feel protected. You were never weak for doing that. You were only trying to survive with the light you had at the time. But survival, when it stays too long, becomes a ceiling. It teaches you to measure your life by what you can manage instead of what you can receive. It trains your spirit to live with the door almost open, never fully stepping through. And there is a hidden cost in that. You grow tired in places nobody sees. You become skilled at carrying burdens that were never meant to be permanent. You start to forget the sound of your own expectancy. And still, even there, something inside you kept resisting complete resignation. That resistance is why you are here now. That resistance is why this message landed. That resistance is why the signs became louder. The pattern has been exposed not to shame you, but to free you from agreeing with it one more day. But there is a layer beneath this one, and it is the layer that has shaped the entire way you have learned to stand in the world. Imagine an old courtyard at the center of a house that has stood for generations. The stones have been walked on for years. The walls have watched seasons pass. In that courtyard there was once light, movement, laughter, and an open door that let the air move freely through the whole place. But at some point, long ago, someone closed the inner gate. Not because the courtyard was broken, not because the house was worthless. The gate was closed because something happened there. And after that moment, everyone who lived inside the house learned to move differently. They learned to keep certain shutters half closed. They learned to speak with caution near the threshold. They learned to walk around the center instead of standing in it. And over time, the courtyard did not disappear. It simply became quieter. That is what this route feels like. Not destruction, but a long silence over something once alive. You did not begin this way. You inherited a way of moving through the inner house. You learned how to live with doors that were never fully open because the ones before you taught you, directly or indirectly, that open spaces are risky. So you became careful with your joy, careful with your trust, careful with your hope. You learned to keep the center protected, even when the center was the very place that wanted to breathe. Somewhere along the way, the courtyard inside you was told to wait. It was told that opening too quickly would invite loss. It was told that stillness was safer than song. It was told that if it remained quiet long enough, no one would notice what it had once carried. But silence is not the same as absence. A courtyard can be quiet and still hold the shape of life. A gate can be closed and still remember the hand that once opened it. A house can grow used to dimness and still be made for daylight. That is what has been happening to you. The old arrangement has been loosening. The stones are not the same stones they were when the gate first closed. The air is changing. You may not see the whole opening yet, but you can feel the first movement in the leaves. You can hear it in the way your heart has started to lean toward something it used to avoid naming. And that is why the ache has felt so specific. It is not just longing for more. It is the memory of an inner space that was built for freedom and has been living as though closure were normal. Your spirit remembers the courtyard even if your mind only remembers the walls. Now the gate is stirring, not all at once, not with noise. First it moves at the hinge, then it gives a little more space. Then the light reaches the floor in a place that had been shadowed for years. You may be standing in a season where nothing looks dramatic from the outside, but the old silence is no longer holding the same authority. Sit with that for a moment. Feel the image, because it is more than an image. If you can feel the gate inside the courtyard beginning to move, type the words, "I see it." Say it as a witness, not as a wish. Let the recognition seal where it has just landed and come back to me. Because once the gate moves, the rest can no longer pretend the courtyard was meant for darkness. What changes now is not that you become someone else, but that you return to what was always truer than the pattern. The solution is not a performance of improvement. It is a return to the place in you that was always made to receive without shrinking. You do not need to prove that you deserve open space. You do not need to earn the right to breathe in your own life. You do not need to manufacture confidence before you can stand in what is already being given. What you need is not a harder effort, but a truer posture. You need to receive the opening without arguing with it. That may sound simple, but simple is not the same as easy. Receiving asks for a different kind of strength. It asks you to stop reaching backward for the old gate and begin trusting the air moving in front of you. It asks you to stop editing your desire down to a size that feels less vulnerable. It asks you to let your yes be larger than your fear. There is a practice in this return, and it begins in the morning, before the noise has fully gathered around you. When you wake, do not rush to gather the day before you gather yourself. Sit for a moment with your hand near your heart, and let the first sentence be a receiving sentence. Not a request, not a negotiation, a receiving sentence. Say quietly that you are here to stand in what has been opened for you, even if your feelings are still catching up. Then there is another practice, one that belongs to the middle of the day, when the old pattern tries to pull you back into guarded living. At that moment, do not argue with the pattern as if it must be defeated in a single conversation. Instead, notice where your body has tightened. Notice where you have started rehearsing the loss of something that has not yet been taken. Bring your attention back to the present room, the present breath, the present ground. You are teaching your inner life that the present is safer than the memory of old closure. This is not pretending. This is stewardship. You are tending the place where your life is learning to stand again. A courtyard does not reopen because it is forced. It reopens because someone honors the hinge, clears the threshold, and lets light enter where it belongs. You may also need to notice the way you speak to your own future. If you keep describing your life as though only the smallest outcome is possible, you keep feeding the closed gate. But if you begin to speak with quiet dignity, If you name what you are truly hoping for without apology, then you are cooperating with the movement already underway. You are not summoning fantasy. You are agreeing with a truer architecture. And yes, there will be moments when the old reflex returns. You may feel yourself bracing again. You may catch the edge of the old caution in your own voice. When that happens, do not despise yourself. Simply return. Return to the courtyard. Return to the gate. Return to the floor where light has begun to fall. The work now is not striving. The work is return. You are not being asked to become louder. You are being asked to become available. You are not being asked to force the door. You are being asked to notice that the door is no longer the same as it was. Something has changed in the house, and the house is changing because you are changing with it. If something in this has confirmed what your spirit already knew, let your like be your amen without words, not as a metric, as an agreement that what was named here was named correctly. Take one breath and let that agreement rest inside you. You do not have to announce it to the whole world for it to be real. You only have to let it settle where your own honesty lives. There is someone coming to mind right now, and you know it. It may be a person who is quietly tired, holding more than they ever admit. It may be someone who is secretly seeking, standing on the edge of hope, but not yet telling anyone. It may be someone whose strength has become so normal that no one notices how much they have been carrying. Their face is there because this message is not only for you. Send this to them, not as a suggestion, as a delivery, the way bread is carried to a hungry table, the way water reaches a place that has been dry for too long, the way something gentle arrives exactly when it is needed. Because this kind of message is not meant to be kept behind your teeth. It is meant to move through the hands that receive it, to the heart that is waiting to hear it without having to ask for it first. Before this closes, type the words "I am chosen." Do not type them as a hope. Type them as a confirmation. The agreement that has been forming across these minutes is not outside of you anymore. It has begun to live in the way you hear, the way you stand, the way you return. You are blessed in your waking, and you are blessed in your waiting. You are blessed in the places that shook you, and you are blessed in the places that steadied you. You are blessed in the room that closed, and you are blessed in the gate that is opening now. You are blessed in the silence that taught you, and you are blessed in the light that is returning. You are blessed in the part of you that kept watch, and you are blessed in the part of you that finally rests. Right now, all across the world, there are hearts hearing their own hidden story named with tenderness. Right now, all across the world, there are people who thought they were late, only to discover they were being prepared. Right now, all across the world, something is opening where fear once sat. I am chosen. It is sealed. You are not ending in confusion. You are ending in recognition. What began as a quiet disturbance has become a clear knowing, and that knowing is already changing the way your heart stands inside its own life. You may still feel the echo of the old courtyard, the old gate, the old habit of protecting what was always meant to breathe. But now you know the difference between a sealed room and a sacred threshold. You know that not every closed thing is a prison, and not every opening arrives with noise. Some openings come like dawn through a crack in a wall, patient and undeniable, until the whole room remembers what light is for. That is what this has been for you. Not a spectacle, not an accident, not a passing emotional wave that leaves you unchanged by morning. It has been a return of sight. It has been the soft but unshakable recognition that your life is being called out of old containment and into wider air. And once you see that, you cannot unsee it. Once the inner house is named, the house itself begins to answer. So let the rest of this moment be simple. Let it be honest. Let it be the place where you stop negotiating with what you already know. You do not need to keep asking whether the signs were real. You felt them. You did not invent the waking, the repetition, the pressure, the strange and sacred restlessness that came over you like a tide with purpose. You do not need to keep asking whether the pattern was there. You lived it. You carried its weight, you adjusted your steps around it, and you learned how to survive inside it with remarkable patience. Now the patience changes shape. It becomes trust. It becomes steadiness without fear. It becomes a quiet willingness to stand where your life is wider than the story that tried to keep it small. And this matters, because the part of you that has been waiting for permission to open has already heard enough. It has heard that the gate is moving. It has heard that the courtyard remembers the sun. It has heard that the old silence was only ever temporary. So do not rush yourself into pretending to be fully unfazed. Just be present to the opening. Let it be real. Let it be gradual. Let it be enough that you no longer call the threshold a wall. There is a dignity in that kind of seeing. There is a holiness in refusing to shrink once the truth has arrived. And that is what makes this ending different from all the times you have tried to finish a hard season by force. You are not forcing anything now. You are arriving, you are recognizing, you are allowing the house inside you to breathe in its own design. What seemed delayed was never absent. What seemed hidden was never erased. What seemed silent was never dead. It was only waiting for the hour when your eyes would be ready, and that hour has come. Not because you made it come by effort, but because something in you finally aligned with the moment that was already approaching. So carry this with you in a new way. Carry it as someone who no longer needs every answer before taking the next step. Carry it as someone who has seen enough to trust the movement. Carry it as someone who understands that revelation is not always loud, and that the deepest confirmations often arrive in the quietest language, a repeated sign, a sudden stillness, a sense of being addressed, a line that lands so precisely it feels older than the moment it was spoken. That is the language you have been hearing. That is the language you are hearing now. And because you are hearing it, you are not the same person who first entered this message. You are more awake than you were, more settled than you were, more willing to receive than you were when the night began. Let that be true without proving it. Let it be enough that your spirit knows how to recognize its own name when it is spoken correctly. Let it be enough that the inner gate no longer feels like a threat, but like an opening toward your rightful heir. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not too late to what is being made ready for you. The movement that reached you last night was not asking you to become someone else. It was asking you to come back to yourself with more honesty, more courage, and more peace than before. That is why the message found you. That is why it stayed. That is why it is still here with you now. Blessed are the eyes that learn to see what is already unfolding. Blessed are the hands that stop bracing long enough to receive. Blessed are the hearts that outgrow the old walls and do not apologize for growing. Blessed are the quiet ones who kept listening when nothing seemed to move. Blessed are the weary ones who refuse to let weariness become their final name. Blessed are the ones who felt the shift before they could explain it. Blessed are the ones who are standing at the edge of openness and choosing not to turn back. And blessed are you here in this hour, because you are not merely being told that something happened. You are being invited to live as though it did. You are being asked to let your next breath carry the weight of the truth instead of the weight of the old pattern. You are being invited to step into the space where the courtyard is no longer a memory but a living place. You are being invited to trust that the light is not mocking you by coming late. It is honoring you by coming when you can finally see it. So receive this ending as a beginning that has already started. Receive it as the quiet seal on everything that has been spoken over you. Receive it as the moment when the hidden thing stops hiding and becomes part of your consciousness. You are awake now to what was always moving in the dark. You are awake now to the gate, to the light, to the return, to the tenderness of being addressed by name in the language of your own deep spirit. And because you are awake, you can stop asking the old question in the old way. You can stop wondering whether you imagined the shift. You can stop measuring the opening by how quickly it appears from the outside. What matters has already begun on the inside, where the real foundations are set. What matters has already spoken. What matters has already been heard. So let the next moment be quieter than the last. Let it be fuller too. Let it be the kind of quiet that no longer feels empty, because it is holding meaning. Let it be the kind of quiet that tells you the work has moved from struggling to standing, from striving to receiving, from guarding to trusting. You are standing in that movement now. You are part of it now, and the part of you that wondered whether this would ever reach you has already been answered. Attention, you need to prepare now. I put together an exclusive resource for those who feel set apart for something greater, but live surrounded by noise, distractions, and mental overload. This is a 30-day journey that will transform your life. A guided path to armor your mind and prepare for what's coming with daily practices of focus, boundaries, and discipline. Stop negotiating with the noise. Learn to spot distractions before they control you, and strengthen your mind. Also available in an immersive audio version. Over 10 Zuru readers have already transformed their lives through the 30-day journey. Thousands of people have already started this transformation. People like you who are tired of living in the fog. Ordinary people who decided to stop accepting mental chaos. Take advantage of this limited time offer only this month. Access your link just below in the pinned comment.